What trauma are we going to get today? What trauma are we going to get today? And I'm very sad. Nobody liked my Texas is fucked like a bad prom date on Friday night blood sport politics. I mean, I didn't get any like bravado for the nut shot it's in that article.
I saw that title come up, but I haven't. Did I read it? I
Well,
don't
I
think I
you would
read
know what I'm
it.
talking about if you
Yeah,
if you
like I
heard.
said,
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie Bloodsport?
no.
Okay, well,
It's been years since I've seen it.
yeah, there's a dude that gets punched in the jewels. Punched in the jewels. Yeah, Miranda is better dressed than I am. I don't know if I
Just a
should
casual dress.
I don't know if I should be offended or not. I don't know if I should be offended or not.
Thank you, Aaron.
Oh, Aaron's a kiss ass.
It's fine. My ass likes that.
Likes lots of things too, but I'm not gonna. Okay, there we go. Of course she does. So who has trauma? Aaron, do you have trauma? E West, do you have trauma? Or do we want to just,
When
or do we want to deconstruct Christianity? I mean, I'm okay with tearing apart Christianity. That's just fun. But let's wait and see if we see another. I sent a broadcast message to the secure chat that Brandon refuses to join.
what? Are you lying about me? You putting out lies?
No, we have a secure chat. You just won't join it because we're not.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, never mind.
Well,
I thought you
the
were saying you put out a message. Never mind.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing about deconstructing Christianity is that it's not hard. It's actually very easy. Even if you don't understand, even if you don't understand the body of Christianity, um, you know, deconstructing it is still really easy. I mean, here's the thing: geology and archaeology does a lot to deconstruct Christianity. I don't know why people don't get this. You know, I published the start of the deconstruction article sets like a week ago, and I used my gay lions in it. And nobody gave me shit about gay lions. Because I think Christians just look at that image and they see the two male lions walking up into the heart and completely forget that female lions don't have manes.
One of those lines is trans.
I mean, it's possible. So until someone starts talking about trauma,
Thank you, Julie.
I'll just go right in. Julie, you're so sweet. So the most damning piece of evidence in the flood narrative is the Gilgamesh precedent. Do both of you understand the Epic of Gilgamesh? Have you read it?
I haven't read it.
Okay. So in the Akkadian original, there is a character named Udanaphasim. And he is essentially the Mesopotamian prototype for Noah. And so, I mean, it's obvious. On the tablet, Enlil decides, so Enlil is the god, decides to destroy humanity through this giant flood. And Ea warns Utnap to build a boat, save your family and animals, and there'll be 7 days of flooding. And in the epic, the boat lands on Mount Nazir, and Ea commands Utnap to send birds out to test for dry land. So now, the flood.
Oh, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even bother, like Hebrew scribes from the time, did not even bother to change the plot structure. It's the same fucking thing. What? How did we get here? That's a very good question, Aaron, and I would say maybe God came and that caused the flood to happen. But there's more. So there's the Adorasis epic, which was composed in 1800 BCE. It even has an even closer parallel to the biblical flood narrative. And there, the god Enlil grows tired of human noise and decides to wipe them out through a flood because human noise annoys him. And the god Enki,
It's relatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the god Enki secretly warns Adorasis to build a boat to preserve his life. And here's the funny part: the Hebrew word for ark, teva, doesn't mean ship or boat in any biblical context. It's a specialized term that appears in the Noah narrative when describing the basket that held baby Moses.
The big basket.
This suggests that the Hebrew authors were translating from a source language where the specific term had particular significance, and that happens in the Akkadian language sets from the time. So the flood narrative is all bullshit. It's all completely bullshit, and so, but
Well, in ancient times, before we had roads and railroads, living next to the river was really important.
yes,
And so having epic stories about a terrible flood wiping out your community was, those were the kinds of yarns you would spin.
yeah, well, because you had to. We might get another person to come in here. I surviving in the Tigris and Euphrates River region. Life came up there because of that fertile stretch of land in between.
Yeah, the fertile crescent.
Yes, the Fertile Crescent. The
Garden of Eden.
Well, I mean, if you want to call it that.
Isn't that where it's supposed to be somewhere? The Tigris and Euphrates fed the Garden of Eden,
Yes,
right?
the euphemism is that region is likely where the early, and I want to say this too, the early shamanistic Judaic scribes ripped the idea of the Garden of Eden from. Because there's no real evidence that the Garden of Eden, as it's described, biblically ever existed. I mean, there's just, like I said, archaeology and geology. That does a lot for. I mean, hell, apples were not indigenous to that region. They like all of the vegetation that's mentioned in the Garden of Eden. No. No. just like Moses part.
But the Christian will turn around and say that just shows that, God's miracle of life or whatever.
Yeah, and we
They have
can't
an
see it
excuse
because
for every piece of evidence.
Yeah.
we can't see it because the angel with the sword is guarding it.
Yeah, right. The angel with the sword is one of the archangels. Is guarding it.
Is that like the swordsman on the Three Amigos? Do you
Gosh.
remember Three Amigos?
Oh, of course I remember it.
They go and this they have to they have to summon the invisible swordsman and
He gets shot.
and then they shoot
Yeah,
him.
it gets shot.
Oh no, it's not him that sings. It's the bush that sings. The swordsman's invisible, and the bush
Yeah, the
is the one
swordsman's
that sings.
invisible. The bush
Yeah.
sings, and then they
Yeah.
accidentally shoot the invisible.
Yeah.
I have notes, by the way, Aaron, about your question. So there were many shamanistic pre-Bible Jewish mystical traditions. Practical Kabbalah is probably my favorite, and um, early early Judaics, mystics would inscribe sacred names on parchment with quills dipped in specially prepared ink, and then those Hebrew letters, seeming to pulse with otherworldly energy, would appear with messages to important people. The other thing
That's how I write all my poems.
yeah.
In
With
that
a pulse.
Yes, your poems should be practical Kabbalah.
So they're writing with pulsing pencils.
Yes,
Mhm.
early Judaics crafted. Get this, early Judaics crafted amulets that they believed held uh, strong power. Um, Kabbalistic healers performed a process called um, tikkuyunim, repairs. That's the actual Judaic word for repairs. To gather scattered soul fragments and put them back together. All shamanistic Judaics pre-Bible engaged in prophetic meditation. And then Baal Shem practitioners would confront what they called Dibyuk spirits, demons, to exorcise them. So the exorcism tradition that's seen biblically is a pre-biblical Judaic tradition that happened, way before. And then early Judaic shamanistic practices, they believed in what they called Gilgal revelation, which meant early Judaic shamans believed they could access past lives. And then of
past
course,
lives.
yeah, past lives. You could examine past lives in a way that, would allow you to view who you were in certain aspects. The other thing is that early shamanistic Judaics believed they could invoke angels. And so those traditions have all bled back into biblical dogma. So, Aaron, there you go. There's your walk down of shamanistic Judaic existence and why shamans behaved the way they did. Um, has anyone? I've done a panel on my past lives. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't know, Brandon. Do you think you're an old or a new soul?
I have no inclination of any kind of past lives. I don't know.
You never feel like you never get around something and you feel like you've been there before? You never experienced deja vu?
Well, I have. Yeah, I have experienced deja vu, I guess, but I don't know if that's. I think that more um like a like I had a premonition at one time or something, like that I've dreamt this before, that this was going to happen or something like that. That feels more like that kind of experience to me. I don't know.
That's your past life crawling through your psyche, trying to bring you
I
back.
see. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish our past lives were more clear in their messaging.
Yeah, right. What about
Yeah.
random memories that don't make sense? That's actually
Random memories that don't make sense.
yeah, that's an interesting question. That's a
I don't
very
think I
I have
have
en-
any of those.
I have enough memories from this life that don't make sense.
Yeah.
um okay, there's a psychology for that. Um, you know, glimpses of past incarnations. But basically all that is manufactured chemical shit in your brain that's not doing what it's supposed to do, and that's why it doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't it doesn't oh god, the divine council. So I can we talk about Sumerian foundations? Do you understand the Sumerian foundation aspect as it relates to okay, Brandon doesn't, so this is amazing. All right, so in Sumeria, An or Anu was the sky god. And essentially the early Hebrew scribes stole Anu and uh you know God most high. Now here's the thing. When you're reading the Genesis narrative and God's talking about creation, he's creating man. And
Hmm.
God says, we will create man in our own image.
Yeah.
Now, under the Hebrew linguistic, that is a plural statement. That is not a
Hmm.
singular statement. And Christians try to write that away to saying that when God is saying that biblically, that because he's omnipotent, he can say
Hey,
that, but
Hyrule.
it means just him. It's singular. It isn't.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
they
I've heard
say
them
that,
talk.
or they say that it's the Trinity.
Right. That's what I was
Right.
about to say.
Right.
That's usually what I hear.
Yeah. But we talked about that last night. I like Trinitarianism is bullshit. The Trinity does not exist biblically anywhere. I mean, Trinitas is not mentioned anywhere in any apocryphal, Gnostic, or otherwise mainline biblical text. It's just not. And so the whole, this whole Numina Patria et Filii Spiritus Sancti, that's all interpreted post biblical writing. Which you guys are going to love, like part 15 of the deconstruction, where I talk about all of the text that was added after the fact. So, for example, the Gospel of John's last chapter um, was added way after, like almost 100 years after whatever original for whatever first century writing of John's Gospel.
So it's
Just
like a
like
PS.
yeah. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
and then too, Mark's gospel is the one where they're like it went here and then stopped, but then we added some more stuff after that. And so, I mean, there's a textual conversation that you have to have where, but that's the same textual conversation you have to have where you're like, why don't we read the Gospel of Mary? And why don't we read the Gospel of Thomas? And why don't we read the Gospel of Judas? and all the other apocryphal works that essentially, um, because Constantine and the Nicaeans or whatever decided not to put those books in because they
They
didn't
didn't like
feed,
them.
yeah, they didn't feed into the narrative. The Gospel of Mary, there's elements of the Gospel of Mary that will lead you to believe that Mary Magdalene wasn't just a prostitute.
So was Constantine from Florida?
No, he Roman emperor. Oh, do you
I'm
understand
just
that a little?
saying the book banning.
Yeah, your book banning, right? Um, so that really, the one that I have set for the number 3 one that I have, that's the one where I'm actually going to break apart the whole Council of Nice and Constantine and all that other. Or no, that's part 8. And that's uh, the understanding that pre-Council of Nice Christianity is an entirely different animal than what Constantine and ultimately the Romans would funnel it into. Um, at the time, there have been proven to have been 18 different sects of Christianity that existed pre Nicene Council, and their belief systems were all wildly arrayed. There were Christians that believed you didn't have to take communion. There were Christians that believed you had multiple lives. There were Christians that believed when you died, that was it. You were dead. You don't go anywhere. Um, and they all had names. I've got a list of them here. Let me give you the list. The list is fun. Uh,
Former church thought they were the Holy Spirit. I haven't heard that one.
oh, really? They were like embodied the Holy Spirit.
Well, I mean, like in the Pentecostal church, of course, they were they could be filled with the Holy Spirit
Mm-hmm.
as a separate thing. When
All right, all right.
they were,
So here you go. So
yeah.
before the Council of Nice happened, you had Ebionites who were Jewish Christians, and they rejected Paul's teachings and maintained that Jesus was the Messiah, but not divine. That he was
Oh,
that
yeah.
Nazarenes were early Jewish Christians that accepted Jesus as the Messiah while maintaining Torah observance, teaching um, that that they accepted Jesus' virgin birth. The Ebionites never accepted the virgin birth. That Mary was raped by a Roman soldier. I mean, come on. Uh, Docetists believe that Christ only appeared to have a physical body, but was purely a divine spirit that, um, uh, and that teaching that his suffering and death were just illusions that just happened. Marcionites, who were followers of Marcion, they rejected the Old Testament entirely. They believed in 2 gods, the wrathful Judaic God and the loving Father in Jesus. And then Valentinians taught salvation through secret knowledge, gnosis, which is the root to the word Gnostic. Viewing the material world as evil and emphasizing elaborate cosmologies of divine emanation. And then you had Montanists, which was a charismatic movement for the first century AD, emphasizing that the ongoing prophecy and the imminent second coming, they believed that Christ was going to come back in their lifetime. Like Jesus said, I will return in John's lifetime or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Adoptionists believe that.
And now every generation has thought the same thing.
Now every generation
Yeah.
thinks that. When I get to that part where I tear apart because that passage is a passage people hold on to, I will come back in the lifetime of my listeners and how Christians, oh my God, they so misinterpret that, because when you tell them he said that, he was talking about the lifetime of his listeners at that time, not 2,000 years later. You're hanging on to bullshit. They're gonna hate me.
Mhm.
But that's gonna be a fun linguistic lesson. Um, so adoptionists believe that Jesus was born human and adopted as God's son at baptism and resurrection, and denied that he was eternally divine in nature. Um, this was all before the Romans said, what the fuck. There were Quartodecimeans who celebrated Easter on the 14th of Nisan, so the Jewish Passover date, regardless of the day of the week. So Easter didn't happen on a fucking Sunday. um, uh, uh, Novatianists were a rigorous sect that refused readmission to the church for those who had lapsed during persecution. So if you were defiled in any way, they just kicked you out. And then probably one of my favorites is Patripassianists believe that the Father himself suffered on the cross, teaching no real distinction between Father and Son in the Godhead. So they actually believed that when they put Jesus up on the cross, he became God, and we all watched God suffer, which is why there was an earthquake and the sky went dark for 3 days and all this other shit happened or whatever. And um, so when we get to the
God
Nietzsche thing,
suffered and he didn't turn around and make a better system.
yeah, right, yeah, he did turn around to make it better. It was like it sucked or whatever. It was bad. Um, so um, right. So when we get to the Romans fucking everything up, that's part 8 of the narrative. I picked apart all of the apocryphal works. Brandon, how many of the apocryphal works have you read?
Which ones are those?
Really? Like none of those? You should really, yeah.
What are they?
There's a list of about 50 of them.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen like a book of them somewhere or something, but no.
So Catholics are the ones that are infamous for uh, uh, carrying around a copy of the Apocrypha. But what is actually in it? So the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary,
Oh yeah, yeah.
both of the books of Enoch, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Judas, the Acts of Paul and Thecla, which um, is interesting. The Apocalypse of Peter, the Gospel of the Hebrews, the Shepherd of the Hermas, the Epistle of Barnabas. So the story of Barnabas, there's a whole other narrative that is attached to Barnabas' story, and there's an epistle for it. But arguing Christians uh, disagree because that specific uh, uh, textual reference rejects Jewish law observance, and that's why it was never included. Um, there's the Acts of John, which is John's missionary activities. So, but which John? John the
Yeah.
Baptist, John the disciple, John the Most High, John of Patmos. No Christian can understand that there were multiple people named John, and I don't understand why. Um, then there's the Gospel of James, which, by the way, is Proto-Evangelium. which is the narrative of Mary's birth, childhood, and Jesus' nativity. And I don't know why it is that they don't include that text in the biblical text, because um, the it specifically talks about otherworldly punishments that happen. The Apocalypse of Paul, which was Paul's revelation. So Paul had his own revelation that never got. The Acts of Peter, the Gospel of Nicodemus. By the way, the story about Nicodemus is way larger than pastoral people indicate. The Acts of Andrew, the Gospel of Truth, and then my personal favorite, which is the Jacobean text, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. Which, by the way, in the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, that text would literally feed so directly into misogyny biblically that I don't understand why they left it out. But like, if you read all of those, the two books of Enoch, it's like every time I watch a movie where they're talking about the war in heaven between angels and demons and shit, that's where that comes from. The Apocalypse of Paul, that's very likely what influenced Dante to write the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. The Acts of John, there are elements of the Acts of John during missionary activities that you see in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And so it's very likely that the original source for those three books came out of the Acts of John book, where they just disseminated all of the best parts of the Acts of John through the rest of the text away.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they thought the Bible was long enough. They're like, let's just get rid of
maybe it's
a few of
long enough.
these.
Yeah. Like, I can't imagine why they wouldn't have sat there and thought, who the fuck is gonna read all this shit?
Well, they knew a pandemic was going to happen, and maybe people would be sitting around reading books again.
Gosh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Oh wait, Aaron. This sounds like me writing papers in college. Well, I mean, I did a few of those about this exact material, actually. Wow, Gnostics definitely drew from Plato. You said that, Miranda. How educated of you. Why would you say that?
Yeah, that's as far as my knowledge goes, though.
You know, Plato was gay, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh,
everybody was.
Oh,
everybody was gay.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't just Sappho on the Isle of Lesbos or whatever. Plato was the male version of Sappho. I mean, yeah, oh God, yeah. Plato was, he was a bottom. They just didn't have lube back then. So I'm sure it hurt a whole bunch.
Sure, they could have used, like,
I'm sure they used something.
Animal fat or something.
Could you make
whale blubber? I don't know.
I don't know. Olive oil. I can't imagine that would. No, I'm sorry.
I can imagine that.
Olive oil wouldn't be like viscous enough, right?
I think it would work.
They didn't have Astroglide. They didn't have Astroglide back then.
Maybe they did have Astroglide, and it's part of the lost knowledge during the Dark Ages.
Oh gosh, I can only imagine.
You sound like a salad.
Julie, do you need your salad tossed? Julie, do you want me to toss your salads?
Olive oil is good for you, like good for your face and your hair and everything. That's what I've heard, at least.
Um,
Just put it everywhere.
yeah, just shove it wherever you want.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing, Brandon. Have you read any of the deconstruction articles that has any of that shocked you?
Shocked? No.
Yeah. Because you expect it to be that way. But I mean, doesn't like childhood Brandon have a problem with that?
Well, I usually put him in a corner, tell him to shut up.
How often
I mean,
does that happen?
how often does that happen? That I put my
Yeah.
childhood in the corner?
Yeah.
Well,
Because I'm about to
I
ask
mean,
Miranda that question.
it's when you grow up that way and you've got it ingrained, it is a little difficult. I mean, the voice, still keeps coming out.
I guess a better
So,
question is, are there people in your life that try to draw you back to it?
oh yeah, well, like the other day, I was telling you about my aunt who told me I needed to go to church and invited me to her Bible study and that kind of thing,
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
What about you, Miranda?
Yeah.
Who does it to you and why?
Um, so there are people in my extended family who try to do it to me, but they're easy to ignore because we're not close anyway. Um, my in-laws are Baptists,
Mhm.
and so they act respectful to my face,
But then talk behind your back.
but then talk behind my back. And
Oh, that sounds like a Baptist. Yeah,
yeah,
that
but they
that,
worry about
that makes sense.
my soul.
Oh yes,
Wait,
they're
so
missionaries. So this is you're probably one of their missions.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if my dead name is on their church prayer list.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
oh gosh. A prayer list, that's still a thing? People still do
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Oh yes. Oh
Still a
yes.
thing. I'm pretty sure their church has a public prayer list. So like you can go to the
Yeah.
church website and add a prayer request to the list, and everyone has access to the list so they can pray about the needs of the community.
They do it in front at church too. I mean,
Yeah.
when they'll get up there, they'll list off the prayer list. Does anybody else have, and somebody will say there are a lot of times they're the unspoken requests,
Yeah, the unspoken requests are always like, my sexual issues.
Yeah.
I can't talk about those, right? So, um, and then the spoken requests are so often like passive aggressive digs at other people. So, oh, well, y'all pray for my cousin. He's just been all caught up in sin, and I'm really worried about him. And blah 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 blah.
All caught up in sin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yes.
I want to get caught up in sin. I mean, I don't feel like
I'm having a great time caught up in sin.
I don't feel like I've experienced enough sin. I need more sin in my life.
My aunt always she gossips quite a bit, but the gossiping is disguised as um concern.
Oh,
She's only
oh yeah.
saying this because she's concerned for them. She wants other people to pray. They need to know so they can pray for this person, as she likely is.
Hmm.
Right. Of course. I, again, I don't understand why that's a thing. I mean, insofar as I don't understand why, um, uh, you know, prayer does anything because it doesn't. I, at what point do you like continue to pray and believe it actually does something? Like the first couple of times, my grandmother's dying of stage 4 cancer. Please, God, I prayed very hard for like days and days and days. Will you save her? And she died. At what point would you say, "My prayer doesn't do anything"?
Hmm. But they'll turn like a switch though and be like, "Oh, God took her home. God healed her
Yeah,
permanently.
you,
She has her
yes,
It
celestial
wasn't.
body now."
It wasn't in God's will that
Yeah.
right. Because you had a church leader who was there to steer you away from doubt.
Hmm.
If it was just you and you believed that prayer did things, and you didn't have somebody to steer you away from that doubt, we would probably not have Christianity as a whole. Please stop the massive tidal wave that's coming right for my beachfront property and it's probably going to kill me. Well, you know what?
I can understand the prayer as a communication with God, but a lot of people want to use it as a request line or a
Yeah.
suggestion box almost, or something like that. It's like I want these things. And so it's just asking.
I think it's
Yeah. Like
very,
C.S. Lewis talked about um, prayer changing him. Like prayer doesn't change God, prayer changes me.
yeah,
Yeah,
because there's a psychological effect.
right. That's what I was going to say. I mean, it does. Prayer can help as far as, 'cause, and I'm sure I haven't read studies, but I've heard of, studies that people who regularly attend services or have an ongoing prayer life, that it helps them emotionally or, mentally. So in that respect,
I mean, from that perspective, and I find this puzzling because Catholics do this, specifically nuns and priests. Meditation, prayer, and meditation are essentially the same activity. With prayer, you're directing it in some random direction. With meditation, you're just cycling thoughts over a specific item or a specific detail, and you're using the cycle of that detail to deal with whatever is psychologically affecting you or not.
Right. And in both circumstances, there are mantras that you can use to guide you through that process. So that could be the Lord's Prayer or praying the rosary or, a thousand different things.
I mean, you heard the one about the three nuns, right? Nun goes into the confessional, and the first nun says, "Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned." And the priest says, "What is the sin you have committed, my child?" And she said, I last night I walked into the priest's room and I noticed that he was naked. And so he says, "Go to the offering coffer, say 10 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers, and splash your eyes with holy water." And then the second nun, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." And the the nun says, you know, "I walked into the priest's room and accidentally touched his genitals." And the,
Oops.
the, the priest said, "Go to the offering coffer, say 20 Hail Marys and 20 Our Fathers." And so, well, while the two nuns are over at the holy water vessel bathing themselves, the third nun runs out and says, "Get the fuck out of the way. I have to gargle."
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, now you can tell that one to all of your Catholic friends. You heard the one about the priest, the minister, and the rabbi fishing in a boat, right?
I mean, I think I've heard a version of that. I don't know.
Priest, the minister, rabbi are fishing in a boat. And they run out of bait, and the pastor says, "Sit down. I'll take care of this." And he stands up in the boat, walks across the water, gets more bait, walks across the water back, and the rabbi is like, "What the hell?" And the priest and the minister look at each other and say, "Jesus." A little while later, they run out of food, and the minister's like, "Well, hold on, I got this." And he gets up, walks across the water, grabs more food, comes back. The rabbi is like stunned now. And they go, "What the hell?" And the priest and the minister look at each other and go, "Jesus." So they run out of beer. The rabbi's like, "You two sit the fuck down." And he stands up, takes one step, hits the bottom of the lake, and comes back up. And they're pumping his lungs out. He coughs the water out, and right as he comes to, he hears the priest say to the minister, "Frank, do you think I should tell him where the rocks are?" Oh, wait, Aaron. Like non-Christians who don't have their own experiences with the damage Christianity has caused, it is offensive that we live in a Christian society, and most people don't care enough to take issue with that. Or like people who think that like abuses are isolated cases and don't want to judge those behaviors because it's not their place because it's not in their belief system. Randy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So Christianity gets a get out of jail free card because of its dominant place in society. Um, One thing that specifically bothers me because I'm a trans woman and they treat me like shit all the time is that non-Christians in our society often give Christians this automatic authority when it comes to moral issues. So the Christians are doing this incessant, like, trans people are groomers, trans people are doing naughty things in bathroom, trans people are doing this, trans people are doing that, and it's all bearing false witness. Um, but in general, people will listen to them as a moral authority on our lives. So the liars getting the pass like hurts me in a very direct way.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because Christians as a whole, you, okay, you're forgiven.
Hmm.
You know, do all this bad shit. Um,
Yeah, my
so
sin's unforgivable.
Julie Elder, can you promise me there will be no streets of gold when I die? At this point, that would just remind me of Trump.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the like visions of heaven being gold streets and stuff is so gaudy.
I, you know,
I'm
I
actually
think it's
writing a
oh no, go on.
okay. So I'm working on my next memoir piece, and it's about dreams and how like I grew up always having like recurring dreams And one of the dreams was, I guess, my concept of heaven. So, um, because I felt so disconnected from myself because, um, I was a trans girl trapped in a boy's childhood. And so I would dream about heaven being this place where like the perfect body I receive upon dying is her. Like that's, and um yeah. So anyway, that's something I'm writing about. I'll have to finish those thoughts. And then you'll have
I,
to read it.
from a druid's
I love
perspective.
dreams.
Oh, do
Oh,
you?
sorry.
No, please.
Yeah, I've read a few dream interpretation books, and I know a lot of people don't, you know, believe that
BRB
they
grabbing
have
a
any kind
charger.
of don't have any kind of meaning or anything, but I kind of think they are your mind's way of kind of um, debriefing things that you've experienced.
Oh wow, Julie Elder. I wanted to ask about your dreams as trans children. Um, yeah, that Julie, that's a really intense question. Um, I would I would say when I was young, I dreamed about being like Helen. Uh, not the Helen in the chat, the Helen my grand matriarch. Um, I had a large number of dreams that were focused on fulfilling roles and things that my grandmother wanted to accomplish. Um, and I does that mean, would that have been a signifier that I was I mean, yeah, I you could assume that, but you know, for me personally, I experienced a larger number of night terrors. Night
Okay.
terrors were much more common for me than actual dreams that I could remember. I don't know about other people's experience, but that's my experience.
Yeah, me too. A lot of night terrors.
Yeah. Um, you know, to quantify that for you, Julie, night terrors are about a feeling, not necessarily an image or something that can be recalled. Night terrors have a lot to do with fear and anger and contagion. And so, and night terrors almost always involve the subject being active. Um, I personally, like I said, I don't know about Miranda and Brandon, but I had nights where I slept in a bed and then I would wake up in the morning downstairs in a chair. Um, so, or I had a partner who watched me rip a door off of its hinges because she locked the door in the middle of the night and I had a terror. And my terrors were all about being contained and I felt trapped. And that feeling caused me to go through the door,
Yeah.
effectively. And fortunately, the door wasn't very heavy and was actually not terribly difficult to. But I mean, in that dream state, you really have no idea. You know, you could have adrenaline coursing through your body, you wouldn't be aware of it. Um, and those are difficult experiences. Um, but to the point about the afterlife thing, you know, um, I grew up with this idea that that there was just a field, and one day you walked into it, and that was it. Not golden gates or streets lined with gold and some large entity that you had to worship for eternity, but just a field, an empty field, and that was it. And you were at
Yeah.
peace.
I just wanted the peace. I wanted to be at peace with myself.
Right. Yeah.
Like I don't care about a mansion or any of this other bullshit. It seems like such a materialistic view of everything. Like
yeah. It's funny. If you watch the show Supernatural, I love that show. But towards the end of the show, you find out what heaven really is. And it turns out that heaven is just you reliving your best memories over and over again. And so, like, Sam dies or whatever, and then Dean catches up with him, and it's like some random memory from when he was a kid. And Dean's like, I remember when this happened. What the hell? Yeah, heaven is just you recalling all of your best memories over and over again. I mean, from my perspective, that wouldn't be bad if I could be who I'm supposed to be and then reliving the memory on top of that. I think that would be.
Yeah.
That,
I could take that.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be peaceful.
You run the show for
You forgot to say spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, trigger warning. Trigger warning. So, yeah, I sort of agree. Wow, so you're working on that, Miranda? Really?
Yeah, I'm working on that and writing about a couple of other dreams.
You should talk to Brandon more.
Do you
Brandon's
still
in
have
the-
recurring ones?
I don't have them as often. I still have an active dream life, but it seems more one-off and incidental now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first
Why don't we
39 years,
why don't
lots
we
of
agree?
recurring dreams.
Why don't we agree to talk about that in the next Trauma Live? Because I'll happily talk through. Oh, Brandon will become the SME, the subject matter expert. Brandon will become the subject matter expert. Yeah, I'll happily. There's like 4 or 5 of the ones that I have. You'll hate to hear them, Brandon, but you're certainly free to pick them apart. Like here's the thing. I like drowning. Like when you dream you're drowning.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
about not more like mortality? Like you're not having enough time.
Water usually represents emotion.
Interesting. Fascinating. Yeah, we should definitely. I'll pick out my 5 best ones just for you, Brandon. And
You get the greatest hits.
Yeah, and then you can tear me and Miranda apart.
I'll try to be gentle.
Oh gosh, you're gonna be gentle with me? No, I think you need to go hard.
You still like it rough?
A little bit, tiny bit.
Oh, Aaron, it is like that sometimes. Like, sometimes the good dreams or the dream that seemed good in the dream, can be very unsettling.
Yeah.
Well, what I hate is having a really good dream and then waking up and realizing that it's not real.
Mhm.
If I have a dream about my boyfriend and then waking up and realizing that he's gone. It's I hate that.
So I have two questions. So the first question is this: this is your ex, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long were you with him?
About 4.5 years.
Okay, all right. That's long enough for a significant emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And then my second question is this. So, and this is really just like a fluid question, is because I've done this before. I can't remember the number of times that I've been successful at doing it, but I've done this before. Have you ever woken up mid dream and then tried to go back to it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And like,
Doesn't often work.
How many times
Yeah.
did it work?
Yeah. Not. There have been very few. It has before. I mean, it's very rare though.
Right.
Yeah, I usually end up in another dream, or I have the opposite problem where I'll be having a nightmare that I'm working myself to try to wake up out of,
Yeah.
and I wake up and I either um, fall back to sleep into that dream, or I wake up with like um, sleep paralysis.
Hmm.
So I'm just laying there in terror, unable to move my body, um, and just like kind of recounting the dream.
Right.
And like, yeah,
Yeah. I've read about sleep paralysis, but I've never experienced it myself.
My
so
sister,
fun.
my sister
Yeah.
experiences
Mm.
my sister experiences sleep paralysis. I've had it happen a couple of times. It freaks me out though. I can't deal with it. It literally is just it's too much.
Yeah.
And then oh yeah, I saw that earlier. Trump earlier today was talking about they're going to replant all the grass on the White House grounds. And in the speech, he's literally saying, I know about grass. I know about a lot of grass. I know about more about grass than most people. I have golf courses. That means I know about grass, a lot of grass.
He says
Yeah.
the grass gets old and tired. It needs to be replaced.
Oh, yeah. And then he says the grass gets old and tired and it has to be replaced.
Is that a metaphor?
Yeah. When do we get to replace?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we just like shave the top half of Trump's grass off and replace that? Can we just replace the Trump grass entirely? I don't want the Trump grass on the White House lawn.
Aaron, I love that idea. I love a good gender neutral bathroom.
You're gonna shit and take a dump on his lawn, Aaron. This is why we have.
I'm gonna eat some dairy first and then shit on this lawn.
No, I'm gonna like wolf down a bunch of broccoli and cheese sauce with a bag of Taco Bell, and then I'm gonna go shit. Corn and cashews. Yes, exactly.
Cashews. I haven't heard about cashews.
Oh, does cashews cause that to happen? I didn't know.
Well, corn, I'm
no.
assuming because it doesn't digest, it just
Oh,
stays in its. So I thought maybe cashews do the same thing. I don't know.
maybe they do.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. At this rate, skip along and just go for the best. Okay. Oh, and I'm just gonna say, like next week, when we do trauma live next week, I'll run that on restream so that we can have cool titles and shit. Because paid lives are paid subs. So, but what I'll do, so that both of your readership will get a notification. I'll invite you both as co-hosts into that live, and then restream it. So you'll get you'll get a see. Lawrence and those others do not know how to make that work, and that's because he didn't come to me and ask. So I would have gladly helped him, but anyway. So next Tuesday, do you have anything going on next Tuesday, Brandon?
Oh, well, not like not till mid afternoon. I'm leaving on a trip next week.
Oh, a trip.
I am heading to Maine.
Maine. I like that. What are you doing in Maine?
I'm meeting up with some other writers from a writers group that I've been a part of for a while, and none of us have ever. Well, I don't know if none of us have. Most of us have never met in person, so we're meeting at a place in Maine.
You're meeting at a place in Maine. Wait, does that mean that you can like come on in the evening live or whatever, and like we can talk?
Well, I could come on while I'm there. I'm planning on leaving, I think, Tuesday midday ish.
Okay.
And then so I'll be there on Thursday if you're going to be doing it on Thursday. But I don't know what our schedule is and everything, what we're doing. So
let's just talk about what your schedule looks like while you're there, and we can I can even run the Wednesday night live early.
and I'm on my
Is
way
that your
there.
neighborhood, Brandon, or is that you, Miranda?
It's
What?
It's not mine. The police siren?
The police siren?
Oh yeah, that's me.
Definitely not me. If
Miranda,
they're out
did you
here,
need to
something's
get off
wrong.
the
Yeah. Like, no.
live? Miranda, is
No.
there something you're not telling us?
On
So
the way
yeah,
there, I'm gonna stop at Niagara Falls.
Nice.
oh, so
I've never been there.
You're flying up there?
No, I'm driving.
I'm driving. Okay.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, that's going to be like 12 hours. That's like a 12
It's
or a
gonna be
13. Oh,
yeah.
well, no,
Well,
that's going to, no, that might be an 16-hour drive. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So tell me you're at least going to break that up. Are you going to try to do it?
Yeah, I've driven 15 hours before straight through. I did stop at a rest stop though and take a nap. I'm planning on stopping at a rest stop and taking a nap at some point. But
Please reasonably.
Anyway.
But so you're going to, and then you're driving back on Thursday or Friday?
No, I'm probably driving back on Sunday.
On Sunday. Okay.
Leaving Saturday, getting back on Sunday.
Oh, okay. Well, then just one of the evening lives, if you have a window that's between like 7 and 8, let me know. I can go early.
And they're all Substack writers as well, so we might be doing a podcast or live or something, and that'll be fun.
Oh, if you do that, just send me a link. I want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
Hopefully everybody will want to do that. So
do that because here's the thing: if you set up a live session or whatever, I'll even host a live session and then just stay quiet the whole time if you want to like get a bunch of people on or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how it's all gonna work, but I'm gonna try to. I think they will, because all of them have been on live videos before, so we'll see. Anyway,
Cool.
I don't know.
I'm very excited. I just
Yeah,
if that's happening, I would definitely make a post about it or something. Take a bunch of pictures and make a post about it.
yeah.
Um, I feel like that should be positive. All right, well, cool. I'm gonna get back in my car and hopefully not break up a Russian orgy again.
I mean,
You know.
I'd be okay with it.
Whoa, hold on. What if that meant, you'd have to be faced with the JJ? I mean, you've never seen one of those.
Oh,
You wouldn't know what to do with it, right?
yeah. I don't know. I might have nightmares.
I don't, Aaron, to answer your question, I'm not sure as long as it's not a Serbian one. And the reason for that is Google a Serbian film and then you'll know why. See, they love your dress. I look like shit. Okay, goodbye. Ugh.
Thank you, Eileen.
All right. Brandon, anything else?
Um,
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, whoever comes back later this evening, great. Thank you both, and thank you everybody that came for Trauma Wednesday, as opposed to Trauma Tuesday, but that's because we couldn't connect.
yeah.
So next week round.
So we're not doing it tomorrow. Is that
Huh?
no tomorrow?
If I do one tomorrow, it'll just be ad hoc or whatever. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Actually, you know what? I think I am going to do one tomorrow, but it won't be trauma. We'll talk about something else.
No. All right.
Yeah, we'll talk about something else. So it's cool. All right, cool. Yep. Everybody, bye.
Bye.
Bye.